Right. Go and buy my 4 books, low price of £1 over at gamerkyle2.gumroad.com. That is gamerkyle2.gumroad.com. And now let's get into the live stream. I'm going to go over to YouTube, and once it loads, I'm going to show my screen. You know what I mean? And then I'm going to go over and hop onto the fucking tablet and see if I'm actually showing you my YouTube homepage. So just go over here. Okay. So you can see, so I'm not worried about all of that. So clear it all. Make sure I exit out of Twitch because I don't want to see a photo of my live stream the next time that I open it, the thing on my tablet. Cool. Close. Make sure I clear that. No recent items, no recent items, no recent items. Okay. Now it's time to go and find the video of today. Where was it? It was somewhere here. I'm gonna find you. Should I just type in the dude, bro? I think I should just type in the dude, man. Oh yeah, he's here.
Imagine if.
Shut up, bitch. I ain't trying to watch that video, bro. Which one was I gonna watch? When 15 minutes of fame destroys your life forever. Well, my life is already destroyed. I'm a failure like these people, so I might as well watch this. This is the video that caught my eye. Let's go.
What happens to you when you finally become famous? And
I don't fucking know because I've never become famous, mate. But I'm just going to make sure that it's on 1080p 60. So to answer your question, I don't fucking know. I've always been a failure. It doesn't matter what I do. I've grinded social media for a decade. I've recently been grinding to release books, and I can't get a sale. So you're asking the wrong person this question, mate. You're asking the wrong person, mate. My life is already destroyed forever.
the very thing you'd always dreamed of destroys your life in minutes. Well, in this video, we're going to go over every way fame ruins lives, from access to forming your face beyond recognition, scams, FBI raids, and even death. Starting at level 1, self-sabotage. Like we're going to see with this prank YouTuber known as Vitaly, who is currently facing decades in prison, all for just 15 minutes of fame. Vitaly, like anyone starting out on YouTube, was looking to do anything it took to get views, no matter the consequences, pushing himself into any situation that would give him more clout. After not getting anywhere, he started doing edgy viral content like the Miami zombie prank, which piggybacked off a real-life tragedy, but it actually worked, and suddenly he would receive everything he was looking for: millions of views, a booming channel, a bunch of cash, and eventually roles in movies like Natural Born Pranksters.
This is my husband, George.
Congratulations, George. Beautiful baby.
Is this your baby?
Eve, I just got the text.
But once he realized the formula for easy virality, he would milk it to the bone, doing whatever it took for just another 15 minutes of fame, to just feel that same sensation again, over and over, whether it be getting arrested for climbing the Hollywood sign, streaking at the World Cup, or even scaling the Egyptian pyramids. But in 2020, he would finally push things too far. Whether he was simply stuck in the addictive loop of chasing fame, or so desensitized to acting crazy, it didn't matter. He'd taken a step way too far while high on mushrooms. Completely out of his mind, Vitaly viciously attacked a woman jogging in Miami. She did manage to survive, but the images were too disturbing for YouTube. Brands then dropped him, he was sued, and his channel was completely demonetized. So he would disappear from the public for 2 years, questioning his own life choices and seeing where he could go next. But suddenly in 2022, he would return, claiming to be sober and sorry.
Yeah, actually I have a letter that I wrote to her the next day, to the girl that nobody knows about it, and like obviously she shouldn't forgive me, but how sorry, and that's not me. I didn't know her. I didn't know what I did.
Oh, you were a demon?
I love how people who get exposed, they're like, that is not me. Who the fuck is it, mate? Like, when you're drunk or high, it's just a more like weird version of you. It's still you though. Like, you kind of like don't have a guilty conscience, so you act like what you would normally act in private. You bring that out into the public. So man, I don't get why people keep on saying, oh, that wasn't me. Bro, it was. It was the private version of you that leaked out because you were high in public. That's a recipe for getting leaked and exposed for who you truly was. You showed your true colours, man. Talking about it wasn't me. Fuck out of here, bro. Fuck
I
out
have nobody
of
to
here.
blame but myself, so it's not like I'm asking for forgiveness from any of these people watching or listening. I've fucked up, I take the full responsibility, and I know it will never happen again.
But never really fully owning up to what he actually did. Instead, he just changed his strategy. First, he would start using OnlyKick, where he could finally get paid again, all for harassing women like
It's not called Only Kick, it's called Kick, but go ahead, Moon. Sorry for interrupting you.
Extreme.
Social media, that garbage. I'm here for one reason and one reason only: to pick up black girls like you and
Racist piece of
tomorrow.
shit.
Then in 2024, he pivoted to catching predators with Aiden Ross. Streams the mixed
Bro targeted a woman just because of her race, because he thought it would be a funny video. Wow, you got the whole squad laughing with that one, buddy.
self-righteous outrage with casino sponsorships and humiliation porn. But even that didn't last, and soon he had no choice but to leave the United States to find new people to use for 15 minutes more of fame. So by 2025, Vitaly was now in the Philippines, back to disturbing locals, stealing from shops, and making threats, all while live streaming every moment.
Excuse me, madam, I'm gonna rob you.
But when a fellow travel vlogger tried to reason with him and expressed his concerns about him harassing Filipinos, Vitaly responded with insults and more threats of violence. And suddenly, days later, Filipino law enforcement arrested him. This time,
Hallelujah.
it wasn't a joke. He was actually formally charged with multiple crimes, charges that may well end up carrying decades of prison time, where he finally finds out what happens when the real world punches back against influencers. And coming up later in this video, we're gonna go
I went on a prison tour before, and prison isn't that nice. Like, I had literally loads of dudes behind me, and I looked over my shoulder, and there was just dudes coming out. It was like a fucking clown car. Every dude just frigging came out of nowhere. It's like they came out from the shadows just to be behind me. And if I'm not careful, if I got arrested and went to that same ass prison, they might be inside of me, not just behind me. So yeah, I don't like prison. It's a weird vibe. It's eerie. It's an eerie vibe. They're just humans too, but they're kind of freaky humans. They on that Diddy shit, bro, with that baby oil, and I ain't trying to get involved in all of that.
go over the darkest levels of fame, like this person who had everything money and fame could buy, to then suddenly descend into a psychotic meth-fueled breakdown in a psychiatric ward in just a matter of months, all because of one simple mistake. But for now, let's continue to the next level of the pyramid, level 2, selling your soul for views. Some people become famous for their talent. Dabo got famous for being the kind of guy who'd humiliate himself for public attention. The type everyone loves to laugh at and not with. This 17-year-old started out doing music reaction videos on YouTube, crying to Frank Ocean albums and gushing over Playboi Carti. But this isn't what made him go viral. What made him get his 15 minutes of fame was one photo, where he looked what people called chopped. The photo had a bad angle, it had acne, scars, headphones, and a bulletproof vest, and the internet would roast him for it. Overnight, memes exploded calling him chopped, but instead of disappearing or rebranding, Dabo leaned into it hard. He would keep on posting selfies with bad lighting, weird angles, greasy...
And people got offended at me for saying something about SS Sniper Wolf, but here they are bullying a guy for having things that he can't control, the traits that he can't control, acne. Anyone could get acne. Man, I don't get it. Double standards, bro. You can't be making fun of someone else, but I do that in my free time too. But I'm gonna call you out because I'm a mole high ground Andy. It's like, bro, you can't be a mole high ground Andy and then do the same act that I've been doing, making fun of other motherfuckers for the past fucking decade, man. It's not how it works. Let me do the laughing and let me do the bullying, and you just watch and enjoy or cringe, because I'm the official cringe loser of the internet.
skin.
100%.
His own fans started begging him to stop. Videos would spring up on YouTube asking why Dabo was so chopped, and why young Dabo...
I don't know, why is my lips so chopped? They're drier than the Sahara Desert, bro. It's just life, man. Get off this man's dick, bro. Stay off of my dick. just hop off the dick and just fucking go outside and touch grass that I never do because I'm afraid of getting stabbed. I ain't afraid to admit it though.
Ugly as hell. People would start saying I made Dabo even more chopped, with some people even being genuinely concerned about how chopped he was. But
this world is just... You got people that will attack you in public for just being yourself. They'll attack you online for being yourself. There's no escape from human beings. These motherfuckers are assholes, but as soon as your favourite influencer becomes an asshole or exposes themselves as being an asshole, they'll call it out, but then they'll carry on being the asshole. While that influencer might grow from his mistakes, you just stay the same. Some things change, some things stay the same. And hypocrites will keep on hypocriting online, bro. You can't make fun of others. Meanwhile, look what you're doing to this man, bro. Making fun of his chopped ass, bro. Bro, like, man, I got this man's back, bro. Like, he my brother. He my N-word, yeah. I wish I was black so I could call him the N-word. That does not make me look good, and I am cancelled, but I don't give a fuck because you are hypocrites, motherfucker. This world are full of hypocrites, calling other people out for bullying and then bullying themselves because they can hide behind an identity. And if I go outside, I get called a nerd, and I stay getting bullied whether it's online or offline. That's why I don't go outside anymore, because nowadays I'll probably get stabbed, left for dead, and put into the ocean to try to swim, but I can't swim. So I don't want any of that smoke. I want the smoke online, bro. It has to stay online, not go out in the real world. Otherwise, that's my life over, bro. That's my life over. But yeah, everybody's a hypocrite. That's what I'm trying to say the long way around, because I like to yap. Yeah, do I mean? The official cringe loser. Nobody's more cringe than me. Weird flex, but okay. But it is the proudest flex, but okay. Suck my cock.
This was his viral strategy to get 15 minutes of fame, because every time he either humiliated himself or had someone say he was ugly, he would then get more and more views, as these clips would rapidly get...
So bro's whole stick is getting bullied, bro. He literally stole my stick, man. I'm the guy that people are meant to make fun of and bully, bro. You stealing my fucking character now? Is it a character? No, I don't play a character. I'm just naturally a cringe loser.
Millions of views. His own self-degradation was a profitable business, one that propelled him to fame and got him rich. Soon he was now hanging out with the top streamers, like Kai Cenat, but it didn't take long
the biggest bully of them all, Kai Cenat, bro. Don't fuck with that guy. He will literally make fun of you like there's no tomorrow, bro. He's the biggest bully in the whole entire world. I'm convinced that he is. He makes fun of everybody, literally.
Be quote-unquote expelled from streaming university over a bad haircut. He then got into physical fights with other streamers.
Kai Cenat is the worst influencer ever, bro. He just bullies people non-stop, 24/7, bro. He calls black people the N-word. He just makes fun of people by reacting to them, kind of like what I'm doing right now. But I'm not making fun of anybody. I'm just voicing my opinion, even if it's a load of gobbledygook, because I'm a yapper. But at least I have an opinion. I have a lot of things to say. That's why I pause every 5 minutes. Jesus Christ, it's only been 5 minutes. I thought it was being fucking 30 minutes. Jesus, I need to shut the fuck up.
With each humiliation going more and more viral, and as he became more known as the ugly guy everyone could beat on, soon enough
Bro, that is literally me. How is this guy ugly? I'm uglier, bro. We should have an ugly contest, man. I would win. I would win in that contest. I got EU teeth. You ain't got no EU teeth. They're pearly whites, bro. I got glasses. You ain't got no glasses, bro. I am a scrawny little fucker. You ain't no scrawny little fucker, bro. Everyone could beat on me. Pause. Actually, no. I like a good time, bro. If people want to beat on me, come on in, lads. Why am I trying to get gay people to masturbate me? I don't know. Because men are better than women, I guess.
Built an entire reputation of being chopped and ugly, and this was the only way he could stay relevant. No one actually cared what he had to say, they just wanted to laugh at how he looked. You could also argue that he's making these decisions.
How am I not getting fucking views, bro? This guy doesn't even look that ugly, bro. If you want someone to make fun of me, man. Give me that career, bro. Give me that clout, bro.
Consciously, and leaning into all of this for likes and views. But either way, it's kind of tragic to look at, seeing a literal teenager humiliate themselves just to get their viral moment. And eventually you know this can't go on forever. Once he's just known as the ugly guy, it will become boring.
Bro, I'm about to crash out. How is he ugly, bro? I'm the ugly guy. E-Rob is the ugly guy. This guy isn't even as close as ugly as me and E-Rob, bro. Facts.
And everybody will forget about him. It's the same kind of humiliation we see from girls like Bonnie Blue, doing anything it takes to just get 15 minutes of fame no matter what it takes, whether it be self-humiliation or degrading yourself in front of millions. But sometimes selling yourself for views isn't just about humiliating yourself.
Even though
it
I
can
don't go
also be
live
by
every
turning
single day.
serious accusations into content, prioritizing fame over basic decency, like we'll see with Colleen Ballinger. You see, Colleen had over 10 million subscribers with her Miranda Sings character. It was wholesome family content with great brand deals, Netflix shows, and she was absolutely living the dream. She had unlimited fame and millions in cash. But then in 2013, allegations surfaced that she was having inappropriate relationships with underage fans.
Please have an inappropriate relationship with me, Colleen. I'm sorry, like, what am I even saying, bro? Like, I'm not even underage, so I'm out of her demographic.
Lingerie to a minor as a joke. Screenshots of group chats where she asked inappropriate questions about fans' sex lives started popping up all over the internet, which is really weird stuff once you look at kid content creators and how predatory they often are. If you've seen any of these types of videos or the recent Netflix documentary, you will know this happens disturbingly frequently. But for Colleen, it was ending her career, and so she decided to capitalize on this moment to gain even more fame no matter how bad it actually looked, where she'd attempt some rather creative damage control, offering a fake heartfelt apology to capitalize on the moment. So she grabbed a ukulele and sang it.
Oh, I love this song. This is my jam right here. Who am I even talking to? John Cena? He's in my room right now.
Whole minutes.
Toxic gossip train.
She called it the toxic gossip train.
Come on,
calling
bro.
the
Don't fucking cut it off like that. That is a banger.
allegations, lies and rumours, even though the receipts were screenshots of her own messages and she admitted them herself. And whilst people might have thought she was serious, it was clear that she was doing this to gain more virality, to make people more outraged and remember her name. She even called out her bony little back mid-song, a not so subtle way of fishing for compliments while pretending to be insecure. The cringe was off the charts and it was all deliberate, as people just couldn't believe she thought singing her way out of serious allegations was a good idea. Just look at the lyrics, they get worse and worse the more you read. Suddenly her live shows were now being cancelled, brand deals suddenly disappeared, and Colleen, realizing how much hate was coming her way, vanished from social media for months.
To create -196, we freeze the whole level to -196 degrees, then crush it before fusing it with...
I need that right now. It's hot as fuck in here, bro. Shut up,
Her ex
bitch.
account reads, "I'm that girl with the lipstick that everyone hates," which says it all really. But the final person on this level is one of the most tragic in the entire video. Because what happens when, without knowing, you accidentally sell your soul for attention, trying so hard to look perfect, you actually become an internet meme instead? Well, that's exactly what happened to Alexi Vayner, who happened to be one of the first alpha male types ever seen on the internet.
Alpha
But
male,
not in the
bro. He looks as skinny as my arms, bro. Actually, that's impossible. He looks slightly bigger than me.
way that you think. You see, in 2006, this Yale student wants to work at an investment bank UBS, but to be creative and stand out...
How is this nerd fucking alpha? Says me, right? Says me.
Rest the applications, he thought rather than sending a normal resume to the company, he would create a 7-minute video showcasing his diverse skill set, which was a great idea. He titled the video Impossible is Nothing, which showed him ballroom dancing, bench pressing 495 pounds, hitting 140-mile-per-hour tennis serves, and karate chopping 7 bricks.
I'm stealing this guy's fucking title, bro. It's been like, it looks like by these friggin' videos that it's been a decade since he titled it that. perfect timing. I need to name this once this turns into a video, this live stream turns into a video. I need to rename this Impossible Is Nothing and see how many people watch. Probably nobody, because nobody ever watches me. I could literally steal this man's title right here, Moon's title, and still nobody would watch me. I'm just unwatchable, man.
In the video, he declares himself capable of achieving the impossible. The intention of the video wasn't to go viral, it was just for the employees at UBS, where he wanted to show he was more willing than other applicants to push limits and achieve what others couldn't. In his application, he also claimed he founded a charity, started an investment firm, and published a book about the Holocaust. All of this made him an incredible person, the perfect person you could hire and follow. Unless he was actually just an incredible liar. Because after the UBS hiring team went through his application, they quickly realized something was deeply off, as they soon realized all of his application was completely fake. The charity didn't exist, the investment firm was plagiarized from another company, and his supposed book contained passages lifted verbatim from internet sites.
So you mean to tell me this guy can get his book published and it's full of bullshit, but I can't even get my book published? That's literally fictional and still full of bullshit, but still it's more entertaining than his book, bro. Because his book is literally lying to you. My book, it advertises itself as a fictional book. It's a horror book, most of them. One of them's a biography about my life, my failure of a life. But yeah, my book is meant to be fictional. It's not meant to lie to you. But I can't get my entertaining books published, but this man can get his bullshit ass books published. That's fucked up. We live in a very fucked up world.
So,
where liars become famous, but nice guys and slightly cringe guys get left in the dust, get left in the dark, bro. Literally get left behind. Nice guys get left behind. That's the word that I was looking for. Get left behind.
someone at UBS decided they would leak this all to the public, but little did he realize he would be releasing one of the first viral laughing
Is that the
stock
fucking
videos.
BBC?
The internet absolutely tore Lesky apart. His video was reposted, remixed, and mocked endlessly across blogs, forums, and other YouTube. He became an internet punching bag overnight, the face of delusional self-confidence. His entire life fell apart like that. What seemingly just began as a normal job application spiraled into a full-blown internet pile-on that haunted him for the rest of his life. And it's even worse when you consider the fact that he probably hadn't even used or even known about YouTube at the time of making the video. He obviously never got the job, and his life never actually recovered.
No,
he was never able to move on from this, so he would go on to threaten legal action. He tried to sue UBS, the investment bank he actually applied for, as well as sending cease and desist letters to various blogs and websites sharing or mocking the video.
But he never got the job, so he did all of that shit for nothing, for no reason, bro. Just lied for no reason, man. Too much time invested being a bad person when he could have invested all that time to become a good person. Just think about it, it's mind-boggling. Is that the word? Mind-boggling? I don't know, I'm not pulling up Wikipedia right now, I'm watching a video.
But none of these threats were successful, and tragically in 2013 he would suddenly die of a heart attack at the age of 29. Someone close to him said, "It looks like he took some drugs or medicine, had a heart attack, and a friend of his drove him to the hospital where they couldn't resuscitate him."
Rip Bozo.
I started this YouTube channel because I wanted to be able to share my ideas and thoughts with the rest of the world. And I know some of you want to do this too, but it can be overwhelming with the time and skills needed.
It's not overwhelming, bro. It's just that I upload, nobody wants to watch me. Simples.
The same. But what if you had
Shut
to imagine
your
a woman
mouth.
using simple text
Shut up,
partner that
bitch.
you
Shush.
and you can see the
Shush.
description below. Now, let's go on to the next level of the pyramid. But let's not reveal exactly what level 3 is about. Let's see if you can actually guess with the first story of Belle Gibson. Belle Gibson was Instagram wellness perfection. She was young and glowing, but was dying of brain cancer that she cured through her own health routine.
Let me guess, she lied again. Another liar on this list.
According to her remarkable story, she was diagnosed at the age of 20, but miraculously she rejected chemotherapy and was able to heal herself with diet and alternative medicine. Her whole pantry app hit 200,000 downloads in a month, and Apple made this their featured app. Because of the amazing success of overcoming cancer, her cookbook became a bestseller.
If she's a fucking liar, I swear to God, she can get a book published, but I can't. Man, my fucking life is so cooked, bro. I can't do anything in this life. I'll never amount to anything, bro. Like, decades on social media amounted to nothing. Recently writing books, I got 4 books now, amounts to nothing. But liars can publish books, and they can actually get sales. I get nothing, bro. I lose. Good day, sir.
But Belle was selling more than just recipes. She was selling hope to other cancer patients. She claimed to have donated $300,000 to sick children in African schools. Parents doing everything they could to fight their kids' cancer sent out all of their last dollars.
Become a liar right now, I swear to God. I will crash out, I will break my whole setup and then go and lay in bed and carry on watching this video over there, bro.
In her
On my
miracle cure
laptop.
through smoothie bowls.
You dare
The
be
media
a fucking
praised her as a
liar.
hero, even when her list of diseases became a little bit ridiculous. A terminal brain tumor, blood cancer, cancer in the spleen, uterus, and even liver. So when journalists investigated all of her claims in 2015, they revealed the true extent of her lies. Only
Oh, she's another liar, but she's a unsuccessful liar because she got her fucking book to get 200,000 fucking sales. Man, if people don't buy my book right now, I'm crashing out. I'm literally crashing out.
$1,000 had ever been donated. The rest funded Belle's designer clothes, cosmetic procedures, and luxury lifestyle.
You don't need to lie in books. That's the crazy part. Just make a fictional book. It's not hard.
Came the next big revelation. Belle never even had cancer at all. There were no medical records, no doctors going on the record, no scars from her supposed multiple surgeries, and when cornered she finally admitted that none of it was true. The most shocking thing about all of this was that Belle showed no remorse. She blamed her childhood, painted herself as the victim, and offered no apology to the cancer patients who rejected treatment to follow her theories. She made up an entire narrative about having cancer just to get famous, and as a result, the courts fined her $410,000. The government is trying to bankrupt her for all of the lies and the terrible things she's done, using this whole story to get money and fame. But as of 2025,
How the fuck do these people become famous from their lies? Yet, I don't become famous from being truthful, man. I should start lying. Well, you know what I just found out? I have HIV, but I didn't get it from having sex with a man. Oh wait, I lied, I did.
she still hasn't paid a single cent, doing everything
I'm only joking, I don't have HIV. I don't have any disease because I don't sleep around like some people in my family.
can to avoid paying the fines.
Looking at you, my sister. If you're watching this, you're probably not, because nobody ever watches me. But everybody follows these fucking liars, but nobody wants to watch the truth. The true cringe loser. The true official cringe loser of the internet, man. Nobody wants to watch me when I'm being truthful, but everybody wants to watch the people when they're not being truthful, man. People love liars because they project that on their creators, because they're liars themselves. So everybody loves a liar. Apart from me, because I'm not a liar, never lied in my life.
Some are now believing that she suffered actual delusions about her conditions, but others just view this as pure and simple criminal intent with horrific consequences, doing anything it takes to get money. And so we can see here on level 3 how easily 15 minutes of fame can lead to financial collapse, in this case for good reason. But this doesn't just lead to the financial collapse of the famous person, like we can see with the Hawk Tour girl. By now,
Oh,
most of
fuck
you
this
are
bitch, man. You say one catchphrase, I can say a catchphrase too. Allahu Akbar. I don't get famous from that, do I?
out of Haley Welch, who became famous
Bitch.
for one phrase shouted
Go fuck
drunkenly on the
yourself.
Nashville streets.
Oh, you gotta give him that hawk too and spit all that thing.
Okay, I'll give him that hawk tour. Do I get famous now? I made it more funnier than this bitch. Please give me my 15 minutes of fame. I swear I will not fucking disappoint. I am a cringe loser. It's literally in my name. It's literally there in the name. I am truthful. These people are liars. Come follow the one true human being in this world, and that's me, bro. The funniest bastard in the world. The most cringiest bastard in the world. I have it all. Funniness, weirdness, diddiness, and cringiness. Yeah, that's the one that I was missing out.
Rolling Stone called her Gen Z's Dolly Parton, which tells you how desperate media outlets were for clicks. Initially, she did seem sweet enough though. She used her platform to donate to animal shelters, launched a podcast called Talk to Her, and it all seemed so genuine and wholesome. But when you become famous like this, it always comes with unexpected costs. And Hailey had no idea, but her 15 minutes of fame was a goldmine for a group of shady crypto influencers and ex-agency marketers looking to...
She's an industry plant. I'm convinced she's an industry plant. She was planted there by Hollywood, bro. I'm convinced by that shit, bro.
To use her fame and milk it for all it was worth. During this time of fame, Hailey was hit with a flood of DMs from celebrities, podcasters...
I know she got blacked by Shaq, bro. I know, you don't even have to hide it. Do you see what he was doing with his eyes, bro? He was being like, yeah, I hit that. That's the, yeah, I hit that look, bro.
Unionists. But this one group in
know that
particular
look.
promised
I've
her
seen
that
it
with
before.
this fame she was now experiencing, she could be making millions without any real work. All she had to do was just follow their lead and she'd be rich. Just follow the plan and do what every other influencer does. Seeing that others had done it and how easy it would be, it was hard to ignore such an offer. Which is why suddenly out of nowhere, Hailey would launch her own cryptocurrency called Hawk. The marketing was intense. Videos talking about the coin, about how revolutionary this would be. And within 15 minutes, the coin had hit a $490 million market cap. The plan to get rich was actually working and Hailey had finally achieved the dream, fame and money. Until the coin crashed hard. Here's what happened. 97% of the supply was controlled by just 10 people. A classic crypto move. And after they sold off all their coin, the token had lost about 90% of its value in hours while they walked away with millions. This is a classic rug pull and it's fairly common, though this might be one of the worst rug pulls around. Her fans were betrayed. CoffeeZilla showed the world how terrible this really was, making people think Hawk to a girl was nothing more than just a simple con artist. And the group around Hailey had got what they wanted. They got millions of dollars and didn't have to care about the entire situation now that they had the money. And then things got even worse for Hailey. Quote, after the coin launch, the feds came to Granny's house, Hailey told interviewers. Quote, she called me having a heart attack saying the FBI's here after you, what have you done? Of course, multiple lawsuits were filed, and Hailey was freaking out, as not long ago she was just a normal girl living her regular life, and after one interview she was now one of the most hated people on the internet, entangled in deep lawsuits.
Yeah, I hated her from the beginning, Lil bro. I was the first person to hate her, because I didn't know why she was getting famous from something that I do every time I brush my teeth. I literally say those words, bro. It is not fucking rocket science to come up with a catchphrase, bro.
Known as a con artist, and perhaps even manipulated by a bunch of predatory investors.
About
While
all of
Hailey
them
was
fucking
eventually
scream.
cleared of criminal wrongdoing, the damage was already done. People had lost thousands, even millions. Which is why today this bad reputation has stuck with her wherever she goes. She's lost partnerships with Jake Paul's Better. She's hated on every time she posts, and her relevancy is now fading away as quickly as her rise.
What the fuck is wrong with her face just then? Says me. Okay, you got me there, John Cena.
Financial ruin and government investigations are still just money and reputation. But what happens when fame doesn't just take your wealth, but also takes your life and humanity too? Well, buckle up, because level 4 on this pyramid is where
This is Jack Doherty, I think. The guy that crashed his car, lul.
Stop talking about careers and now focus about how fame destroys lives. Where fame corrupts people's entire mindset and value systems. When their brains are literally altered to remove emotion and any
Bro, I know that woman. Who is she? She's a porn star, though. I've seen her before. Trust me to say that, bro.
morality. Me, Alex, and Frankie Benegas, the Island Boys, the twin brothers who went viral freestyling in a hot tub with face tattoos, diamond grills, and vertical
These
dreadlocks that look
fucking
like palm trees.
queers. And no, I'm not against being queer. I am slightly queer myself. We're all a bit gay at the end of the day. But I would never do this with my brother. Kissing your own family members. That's disgusting, bro.
Growing out of their skulls, who used their 15 minutes of fame to hide their alleged gang association, violence, and befriendment of child murderers? You've probably seen them by now. They were the classic Florida stereotype. Being these crazy characters, it wouldn't take long for them to get famous. And that first moment of fame came in October 2021, when a video of them performing I'm an Island Boy exploded across social media, getting 9 million views before it
Don't
was
play it,
released.
please.
But now everyone
Thank
knew their
you.
faces, their hairstyles, and their infectious yet pretty awful freestyle.
Cause I'm an island
Oh,
boy,
fuck's sake.
and I've been trying to make. Oh, I'm an island boy. I'm a just island boy. I'm a just island boy.
But
They're trying so hard to be Jamaican and they're making me cry, bro.
Black, seeing their potential as characters, offered them a legitimate record deal. And
Yeah,
they
because Kodak Black can't fucking rap himself, so he can't fucking talk.
turned it down. This was their first real path to success, handed to them on a silver platter by the top of the Florida rap scene. And instead they just walked away from it. And it was this
Dumbasses.
sort of decision making that would later gain them more
Stupid.
infamy. Thinking they could go without Kodak and anyone's help, and do it all by themselves, they continued to try and get to the top of the music industry. But when their music career predictably failed, desperation soon set in. They realized they couldn't just bank on their look alone. Their character wouldn't be enough for long-term fame. And people like George Janko were now calling them out on it, having explosive fights like in this clip.
An accident, God forbid, a situation would happen. You know me from Island Boy, but you know I'm thugging, bro, right?
But as reality started to settle in, and they realized that 15 minutes of fame was fading, they quickly turned to their last resort, OnlyFans. In July 2023, desperate to get any more fame and attention, any sort of relevancy that would get their names in headlines once again, they crossed a line that shouldn't even exist. To regain that 15 minutes of sweet fame, they would post videos of themselves kissing each other. Yes, twin brothers kissing for money. Ironically enough,
I wouldn't even kiss my brother. That's not a twin, bro. That is just weird, bro. If I want to kiss boys, rephrase that. If I want to kiss men, I would bring a man off the street and kiss him, dead on his lips. It doesn't matter what he has. He could be the most diseased guy ever. I do not judge. I do not discriminate. I would rather kiss a deceased individual, gay man, than kiss my own brother or my own sister, because that is disgusting. That's something that you just don't do in life.
kissing videos almost resulted in their OnlyFans being banned based on the platform's no incest policy. Instead, they defended themselves, saying we're twin brothers, we came out of the womb together. It's not really disgusting if it's twins. And they claim they just wanted to see how effed up...
Bro, it's still your brother at the end of the day. If you want to kiss men, just go out to a gay bar and be like, come with me, I need to film you for my OnlyFans. Mwah. Tastes like coffee and maybe beer. Am I gonna get second-hand fucking drunk from you? You will get second-hand whatever you want from me. Second-hand cum? Wait, how does that even work?
Wardens.
I'm gonna shut the
And
fuck
well,
up.
they found out. The move actually worked. For the first time in years, they finally got that fame back. They were finally relevant once again. And on top of that, they also made $389,000 in just 3 months, with over $200,000 coming from just June alone.
So you're two brothers, right? So you got 300,000 from that video alone. 100,000 for me, 100,000 for you, the guy on the left, and 100,000 for you, the guy on the right in the orange shirt. Yeah, let's do some business, bro. Like, I need money too, bro. Sheesh. I'll kiss both of these men for 100,000. I'm a cheap whore. Not gonna
Yes,
lie.
people were now
I gotta
paying
chase
to
that
watch
back.
their degradation. People were that interested in their fool, and so curious to see how far they would go for fame, that they would actually pay the twins to have incest. And while that might sound an exaggeration just because they kissed, things would get so much worse. Once they saw the fame was then drifting away from themselves once again, they had to come up with another strategy. Soon they would claim to do sexual acts, but the money wouldn't stop the descent. In February 2022,
Sexual acts on who?
was then drifting
Like,
away
go
from
back on that
themselves
one,
once
Moon.
again. They had to come
Don't
up
just
with
move
another
on.
strategy. Soon they would claim to
Island boys shock internet by simulating oral sex on each other in new photo. So every kiss is the beginning of oral. Just remember that. So if I go out and kiss a man, he might want some more. Like, bro, I was only joking about making it sexual, but sheesh, I'm finna get that second hand something, bruh. I don't know how to make it second hand. Still haven't worked that one out, but Jesus Christ, bruh. I did not see that one coming. It's one thing to kiss your brother, the next thing to suck his dick, bruh. Like, Jesus Christ. I'd rather suck a fucking gay man's dick over doing that to my brother. Like, what the fuck, bruh? I would rather do oral sex on a toilet than on a fucking brother, a family member. That's disgusting, bruh.
Do sexual acts, but the
I
money
need to
wouldn't
keep my
stop.
voice down just in case my neighbours are outside right now. He might think that I'm a weird don. No, I'm literally reacting to two freaky ass brothers.
The descent. In February 2022, their Florida home was raided by SWAT teams, searching for
I'm
a childhood
uncomfortable,
friend
man.
wanted for murdering an 8-year-old girl. And he was found hiding in the house. So following on from their OnlyFans degradation, in February 2025, Frankie was also arrested for drugs and guns and later for reckless driving and again for domestic violence after allegedly assaulting his girlfriend. And having hit a murderer, his case wasn't looking good, as police records now identify him as a documented gang member and associate. The Island Boys are a ridiculous case, but whilst it can be argued that the Island Boys were shaped from their teenage years by social media, they were adults by the time they started doing all of these terrible acts. So then, what can be said of a child? You see, Amanda should have been a success story. Discovered at just age 10 on Nickelodeon, she was talented, funny, and seemed well adjusted.
She's from the Amanda Show. I recognise her.
But behind the wholesome image, she was fighting a losing battle. You
Okay.
see, Hollywood couldn't let her grow up. Her childhood innocence was the only thing Hollywood cared about. She was stuck with roles only to play innocent characters, allegedly forced on by her parents, and the frustration of this entire situation was eating her alive. She could never escape her childhood, even as she grew into an adult. Eventually, no amount of fame or money was worth it for her, so in 2010 she announced her retirement at just 24, sick of having to be a permanent child for her family.
That's when I announced my retirement too, bruh. I retired at the age of 24. Been living it up ever since, bruh.
And Hollywood. And after her moment of childhood fame, her life began unraveling in the most public way possible. Like many child stars, she suddenly started experiencing multiple DUIs, hit and runs, and some 7 accidents in just 1 year. The horror show played out on Twitter, with Amanda's manic oversharing becoming legendary for all the wrong reasons. In one famous incident, she told Rihanna, "Chris Brown beat you because you're not pretty enough." But instead of treating this like a mental health crisis, the media treated her breakdown like entertainment. This was great for clicks and views. Her real-life collapse was happening in real time for everyone to see, and this was an amazing way to get more views and thus more money. So the media and influencers started circulating around her, reporting on her every movement as she had a full-on mental breakdown, all while the world laughed at her. But things went from bad to worse. As her life got more crazy, she locked herself in a New York cupcake store bathroom, and was then arrested for allegedly throwing a bong out of an apartment window. She then started a fire in a stranger's driveway, and so it wouldn't take long for her to be placed on an involuntary psychiatric hold. But the lowest point came when she tweeted horrific allegations against her father, and claimed she now had a microchip in her brain. In 2013, it was a normal sunny day in LA. Tourists were sightseeing Hollywood, there were people jogging, cars cruising by, until one person noticed a strange lady on the street. People dismissed her as just another crazy on the streets of LA. But then somebody noticed her face looked familiar. It was Amanda Bynes.
That is
waving
no
down
Amanda Bynes, bro. That is a AI generated woman right there.
cars with no clothes on, her face looking completely deranged. She called 911 on herself and was whisked away back into the psychiatric hospital. She'd been taken into Hollywood, seeing the sun, the bright lights, the fame and fortunes, and churned out the other end. Just one of hundreds of thousands of crazy people on the streets of Los Angeles, living a life after fame. And since all of this, she's just dropped off of the radar. And with multiple plastic surgeries, she now looks completely unrecognizable, and has aged well beyond her years. This
Bruv, that's her? That's the same person? I'd still smash, not gonna lie. I'd still smash.
is completely unrecognizable, and has aged well beyond her years. This is exactly what fame does to a developing brain when combined with mental illness and relentless public scrutiny. It's a tragic mix, and all part of the dystopian Hollywood machine. But even level 4 isn't the bottom of this pit. There's one more level we need to dive into. Welcome to level 5, the darkest side of fame, when fame takes away anything left of your sanity, strips you of everything you love and makes your life a living hell. In these final cases, you start to realize...
That's me without fame, so... Fame, do your worst, man. Make me famous, see what happens, fuck around and find out, let's go. Like, I can't get any more worse, bro. I'm already cooked. Like, fame tried to kick my ass, I bet you won't. I'll kick your ass. I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me. Remember that.
Fame, whether pre or post social media, is truly a double-edged sword, and in these most tragic cases, it was never even a choice, as we'll see in our next example. This is Orlando Brown, a child star who had everything with his part in That's So Raven. Orlando was living every child's dream. He was on one of the biggest TV shows, he was the main star, a Disney Channel golden boy with a bright future. With this kind of gig as a child, he could become anything as an adult. It was the perfect life for him. He was already a star and would never have to work a day in his life, as he played
Lucky
Eddie Thomas,
bastard.
the lovable best friend, a goofy, loyal, full of energy character. For millions of kids, he was a familiar face after school, cracking jokes and lighting up the screen. It wasn't just a role, he was part of the magic of early 2000s Disney. But because of the character he played, it was very hard for him to find other work afterwards. Simply because nobody could see him playing anyone else. He was born just for that role, and transitioning into any adult roles was too difficult a task. In many interviews, he alluded to feeling abandoned by the industry and former co-stars, including his co-star in That's So Raven. His financial prospects were dwindling, and soon the reality was setting in, that he'd have to give up his whole childhood dreams, all the potential and possibilities he had in front of him, to go back into regular life.
He can't be that shocked, like, colleagues are naturally snakes, like, doesn't surprise me, bro. They're only around when you're with the company, and when you depart from the company, where are they? They are... Life goes on with or without you, basically. That's just life, bro. You're not the main character, you're just the side character, bro. Like, stay in your own lane, man. And also, you got a future on Twitch. You got a future on YouTube. You got the social media world is your oyster now, bro. Once you've been famous once, people will follow your journey. Make a Twitch account, make a Kick account, make a YouTube account, make a TikTok account, make all the accounts in the whole entire world, including especially a Pornhub account, bro. I want to see that big meat, if it's big. Hey, he's within age now, he's older than me. So yeah, I can say this type of shit. He's not young anymore. But yeah, when you become a star once, and then you can't carry on being in that industry for some unknown reason, maybe there's just no room for you, the walls are closing in, that's when you turn to social media, my boy. You got this, stay strong, motivation type shit, from a very demotivated guy with bipolar, dyspraxia, autism and ADHD. I fucking stuttered. Yeah, that must be my autism. And vertigo, don't forget about vertigo. Dizzy Don right here, bruh. Life just fucked me in the arse, but it doesn't have to fuck you in the arse. You can get up, dust yourself off, and carry on. Motivational type shit. I'm his life coach right here. I should get paid for this type shit.
All whilst being known as a child star, that feeling of regressing back was tragic for him, and by the early 2010s he started exhibiting erratic behaviour,
But
including...
why is his hair red for, though? Why he's got to have red hair, though? Why? It looks better brown hair, like, cause I'm kind of biased, I have brown hair too, so I like brown hair, but yeah, red hair does not suit this man.
Very bizarre.
Don't ever get red hair ever again. Sorry, Moon, I cut you off just then. I will shut up right now.
Views and public rants, and for him the only way to escape the horrors of this life, of being famous for his glorious past, all whilst having nothing left today, made him turn to methamphetamine. As in 2016, he was arrested for domestic violence and meth possession in a police station parking lot. Let that sink in. He was so far gone that he assaulted his girlfriend.
At Bet365, we're here to keep every moment extraordinary. And every now and then,
Literally in front.
Don't gamble, kids. That is a trap. That advert was a trap right there. They want you to gamble. The government wants you to gamble. Don't listen to the government. Don't gamble. Break the law. Don't break the law, sorry. Become a Twitch streamer, become a YouTuber, become a Kick streamer, and destroy your life today in other ways, in legal ways. Just like me.
Of a building full of cops while carrying illegal drugs. But the real nightmare was only just beginning for Orlando, because the arrests just kept rolling in, with hotel raids and breaking into his childhood friend's restaurant. They found him on the roof like some sort of deranged cat burglar, and when he kept skipping court dates, bounty hunters had to track him down across state lines. Then in 2018, he appeared on Dr. Phil claiming to be 4 years sober while so obviously high that viewers could practically see the drugs coursing through his system. He then told Dr. Phil that his full name was Orlando Brown Prince Michael Jackson Jr., and that the King of Pop was his father.
What's your full name?
My full name is Orlando Brown Prince Michael Jackson Jr. And it's AKA Blanket.
That's a long ass fucking name. Jesus Christ. I just have a simple name. I'm not gonna say it, but if you know, you know. It's on my book. So go and purchase my book and then you'll know my name. Smart marketing right there.
4 years after this Dr. Phil segment, Brown's mental health deteriorated further and further.
Hashtag mine too, but I don't do drugs because I just don't see the point in it, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. I don't do alcohol anymore because last New Year's I got so drunk that I didn't know if I wrecked everything and endgamed my PC. So after I woke up, I was like, I'm never drinking ever again. My head is spinning worse and worse, not just because of vertigo, but because of dehydration at that point. And I didn't know if my PC still worked until I turned it on, and I was like, hallelujah, it's a miracle, it still works. Because I thought I'd spilled my drink because I fell asleep with a Budweiser bottle in my hand, woke up, must have put it down while still live, and then I turned off the live stream and went to bed. So yeah, I did a drunk stream and never again. That was not worth it. Like, I mixed too many drinks and the hangover the next day was just hell. It was like hell, bro. I thought I died and went to hell. That's how bad it was. Like, Jesus Christ. So ever since that day, ever since December 2024, or maybe 1st of January 2025, ever since then I've been Arabic, so it's haram to drink for me now. So yeah, I've kept to my religion. I've kept to my religion ever since, bro. I'm a good boy now. I'm a straight edge superstar like CM Punk, bro.
Spiraling out of his control, reaching his breaking point, when Brown was arrested after threatening his brother with a hammer and a broken off knife blade. Things took a really dark turn in 2023, when Brown was cast in Zeus Network reality show Bad Boys Texas, and the season literally opened with him being bailed out of jail so he could be on the show. He showed up to the premiere in a prison jumpsuit, with the very people who made him famous to begin with and caused him this downward spiral, now using his rock bottom to make television. Since this, Brown has been undergoing psychiatric evaluation and was homeless at his last arrest. The Disney kid who once made millions of children laugh is now a cautionary tale about what happens when drugs, fame, and mental illness collide spectacularly. It's truly a heartbreaking story, but at least he had some agency in his destruction. But what happens when fame destroys someone who never had any choice at all? Well, Jake Lloyd can tell us about that.
Who?
The year is 1999, and Jake Lloyd at the
that's before my time. I was born in 1997, yeah, that's way before my time.
age of 8 was chosen from 3,000 candidates to play young Anakin Skywalker. It would be a young kid's dream to play this role. The prequels were just releasing, and this was the perfect opportunity for an 8-year-old to take over the world and become a famous star in his adulthood. Before he was even 10 years old, he was destined for Hollywood success. He was going to be the face of the new Star Wars. But instead, it turned out that this role would destroy his entire life. The bullying after the film was released started immediately and never actually stopped. From elementary school through college, other kids would make lightsaber sounds every time they saw him. And the cruelty stemmed from the film itself.
Well, his comeback should have been, at least I was on a big ass movie. What you done with your life? Just fucking stayed home jerking off, you fucking wanker. That's what I would have said anyway.
Instead of propelling his career, The Phantom Menace was widely seen as a huge disappointment. The film was hated on by almost all Star Wars fans, and it was labelled a joke in Hollywood. And Jake, being one of the most prominent roles in this film, playing a young Anakin Skywalker, became the main laughingstock for fans of the movie. People would mock his line delivery, made fun of the pod racing scenes, and teased him relentlessly for all the awkward, cringe dialogue that he was forced to read out, things completely outside of his control. And with the film releasing, he was only 10 years old by this point. He was feeling the weight of an entire film's backlash, the first time he achieved fame as just a young child, which was now destroying his life completely. But the real horror was happening inside Jake's mind. By college, he complained of people with black eyes following him and had imaginary conversations. His grades then plummeted as his grip on reality slowly began to unravel. In 2015, Jake's mental health reached a breaking point. During a cross-country road trip, he led South Carolina police on a 25-mile high-speed chase exceeding 100 miles per hour. He was then arrested and spent 10 months in jail before being transferred to a psychiatric facility and finally diagnosed with schizophrenia. Then, tragedy struck again. In 2018, Jake's 26-year-old sister Madison died unexpectedly in her sleep from natural causes. She had also been an extra in The Phantom Menace.
Bro, why couldn't that happen to me, bro? I wanna die in my sleep from natural causes. That sounds peaceful as fuck, bro. Please God tonight, yeah? You got my back, alright? I'll be waiting.
Alongside her brother, and was one of the few people who could keep him grounded. She was one of the only lines of defense against the hatred towards the movie and young Anakin Skywalker. This is why his mum explained that he just couldn't handle life after this. He spiraled deeply into an even darker place. In March 2023, while his mother was driving him home from McDonald's, Jake suffered what she called a complete psychotic break. Without warning, he demanded she stop the car and then turn off the ignition himself, all whilst they were in the middle lane of a busy 3-lane highway. He had no acting prospects, he was losing his mind, and his reputation was down in the gutter. Jake was then immediately hospitalized after the incident and spent the next 18 months in inpatient psychiatric care at a mental health facility in Southern California. Today, he's 36 years old and living at a rehabilitation center, slowly learning to manage his condition with medication and therapy. But do you know the saddest part of all of this? Well, it's that Jake's mother revealed that he was oblivious as a kid, explaining he was just riding his bike outside, playing with his friends. He didn't know, he didn't care. Now, the breakdown probably would have happened anyway due to his genetic predisposition to schizophrenia, as there did turn out to be a family history on his father's side. But his family continues to assert that his childhood fame was the short-term trigger. And ironically, Jake remains a huge Star Wars fan today. He even recently watched the Disney Plus series and received an action figure for his birthday. He loves all the new Star Wars stuff, his mother says. People think Jake hates Star Wars, but he loves it. However, all of these stories reveal a really disturbing pattern. Whether it's social media virality or childhood stardom, fame has become a double-edged sword that cuts deeper than most people ever realize. People trade their dignity for fleeting moments of relevance, but fame rarely ever delivers what it promises. Instead of power or fulfillment or happiness, it offers temporary attention that demands an even higher price, where going viral can feel worth any cost. However, these stories do demonstrate that 15 minutes of fame can have lasting consequences.
Thank you. Now what? Your video over or is it just beginning? What the fuck is this advert? Oh, another gambling ad. Fucking YouTube. That's it? Alright. What's next? It's over, Mr. Baldy. Okay. I don't really care if it's over for Mr. Baldy over there. The homeless beggar that faked everything. Fiverr? Huh. This made me cry. I don't really care what makes you cry, mate. Okay, I guess it's the next video. Wavy web surf. the homeless beggar that fate everything. When being a Discord freak ruins your life, I'm not a Discord freak so I don't have to worry about that one. Wealthy influencers who were actually broke idiots like me, okay, don't really care about that one. But the homeless beggar, that's... I'm gonna be homeless one day. Fuck it, I'll watch this.
Give me money and to get some eat.
This is Gary Thompson, the most mentally deficient man in the state of Kentucky.
Does he have a brother called Keenan Thompson? I'm genuinely curious. Why are you answering that 1080p 60? Cool. Let's go.
And before you call me ableist, it has nothing to do with his cognitive ability. This guy's just a complete idiot that can't stop getting in trouble.
Gary, I know what your deal is now. Let's just be real here, okay?
I'm doing no deal. Leave me off camera and I want to be on it.
Arrest after arrest after arrest. This precious little beggar would have the world believe that he's a charity case. A sweet special needs angel that only the most jaded of passers-by could refuse opening their wallets for. Well, just know if you do, you're a sucker and his latest scam victim. This is the story of one of America's most shameless frauds. This is the tale of the bogus beggar.
Yeah, I'm really good at it, really good. I clear about $100,000 a year doing this.
Don't want to be on camera. I break it.
Bro, he's not even disabled. Bro's standing up like me.
Investigators in Franklin County.
The definition of fake it until you make it. What does that say? Does that say grape? I think that's grape, you know, like the fruit. Yeah, this guy is a fruit. Look at him.
Have arrested Gary Thompson on a rape charge.
And I gotta go, y'all. I gotta make some money.
Born in Austin, Texas, Gary's introduction to the world of disability came on the back of a Honda three-wheeler. As a kid, he suffered a serious injury riding one of these, an injury that left him with mild to moderate left-sided hemiparesis, which would affect him for life. His mother was able to sue Honda and actually won $2.5 million in a settlement because of this incident.
So why does he need to beg? $2 million? Did I just hear that correctly, or am I dumb?
Would affect him for life. His mother was able to sue Honda and actually won $2.5 million.
Yeah, so why does he need to beg? Bro is just doing this for no reason.
In a settlement because of this incident. Though partially handicapped and sometimes...
Normally, you beg because you need the money. This guy is a $2 million heir and still begging. Why? Just why? Why?
Requiring a wheelchair to get around,
I don't get it.
Gary could in fact walk, and his cognitive abilities were intact. Well, sort of. Thanks to reckless spending, the settlement money would all but dry up during Gary's teenage years, and that's when a flair for criminality and fraud began to become apparent within him, with Gary stealing from his family members in various ways to get money, eventually leading him to be excommunicated from them entirely.
Thompson's uncle, Gary Horton, says his nephew has caused trouble since he was a teenager.
He forged street checks on me.
He says the family has given up on him.
He can go to no place. Nowhere. He's run out of places to go.
After being kicked out, Gary would become a vagrant of sorts, traveling from state to state, begging strangers for money from the seat of his wheelchair. He barely scraped by this way, but relatively speaking, Gary did better than many of his panhandling cohorts. Being in a wheelchair gave him an inherent advantage in terms of evoking sympathy from strangers, and when Gary realized this, he came up with a dastardly plan to increase his bumming income. In his own words, that plan was to act mentally handicapped.
I am normal. It just helps to be mentally handicapped.
I got mental handicap and I'm working for my money. Please help, but spare my wheelchair today and all my coins. Somebody take it.
Possessing a degree in speech pathology, yes, I'm being serious about that, Gary debuted his cartoonishly voiced and ridiculous special needs character on the streets of Lexington, Kentucky. And the payoff was almost...
Bro's acting like he just landed a role in fucking Iron Man. What the fuck is wrong with this guy, bro? You're a 2 millionaire, 2-time millionaire, bro. And you're still scamming and begging, bro. Shameless.
Most immediate. The man began making thousands of dollars a month using the dopey voice coupled with his wheelchair and drawn-up appearance, tricking kind-hearted strangers into thinking that he was a stranded, mentally handicapped person who had lost his family and needed bus money to get back to them.
Well, I mean, people give people in wheelchairs money that are handicapped or just not act retarded anymore and get the money and just all be normal.
Gary's self-described retarded persona was so successful, he garnered a sycophantic entourage of lesser criminals who escorted him around from place to place, pushing their disabled kingpin's wheelchair like orderly servants. In the Kentucky panhandling scene, Gary was both village idiot and king of the hill.
Try to the restaurant.
It's said that Gary's mentally disabled character became so effective at soliciting money that in 1 year he had made over $100,000 off unwitting, kind-hearted individuals.
And that goes with the 2 million that your mother won in a lawsuit, bro. This guy is more shameless than shameless. He is friggin' scumbag level of shamelessness.
Yes, that's right. You're waking up at 7 a.m., bumper-to-bumper traffic on the way to work. Meanwhile, this guy is role-playing a mental disability and just cleared your net income for the year.
You know why this is so fucked up? I have 4 disabilities and even I don't act like that, bro. Asshole, man. If I ever see you, I'm gonna flip your wheelchair and then just laugh at your bitch ass on the floor, bro.
Yeah, I'm really good at it, really good.
Gary got away with this scheme undetected for several years, but given the absurd nature of this disabled act, it was only a matter of time before some folks got suspicious. Cracks began to show in the character as Gary became too comfortable in his handicap-accessible seat on the gravy train. When he thought people weren't looking, Gary sometimes would stand up unassisted from his wheelchair. Curious because he seemingly told strangers that he couldn't walk, and there were times that he could be seen conversing with associates using a completely different voice than the one heard when he was begging for money.
You were just talking to McFine a second ago.
When members of the public had good reason to believe that Gary was a fraud, and folks began reporting him to the police. So many reports were submitted that cops would actually hold a press conference about the so-called bogus beggar in February of 2013, which drew a small crowd. And guess who was hanging around outside the conference building as this meeting was going on? Seemingly basking in the glory of his own infamy, Gary was just hanging around outside, almost in spite of the public complaints about him. Yeah, it's like he was daring for someone to stand up to him, or maybe even wheel up to him. Reporters from local LEX 18 News who were present at the press conference about
bro,
the...
if you ever met me, bro, the things that I would do to you, bro. Literally, flip you like you a burger, stomp on your head like I'm Seth fucking Rollins. You would be cut after you deal with a gangster like me, bro. Don't play with me. I've played GTA San Andreas, GTA 4, GTA 5, I completed all of those games. GTA 3, I completed that one too. Don't fuck with me, bro. I would kick your ass, boy.
Beggar would do exactly that. Spotting the special needs scammer...
I'm about to make a freaking living getting into a boxing ring with wheelchair users that are faking it to make it just a blop, blop. And then once they're knocked out, I will be like, look, this guy can fucking walk. Wait until he gains consciousness, he will get up and start walking away like it's nobody's business. Because he will be delirious, so he will forget that he is supposed to wheel out of there instead of walk out of there. Once I'm finished with him, he won't know the difference between walking and wheeling. It would be the same thing to him.
And confronting him, exposing not only Gary's scheme in 4K, but also his shamelessness regarding what he was doing.
It's Mr. Vegas.
Whoa, Mr. Vegas.
Who?
He says he makes $60,000 to $100,000 a year, and he admits he does so by tugging at your heartstrings.
Why that camera for?
Chances are you've seen him.
Try to to the restaurant.
Sympathized with his wheelchair, his drawn hands. His story ripped at your heart.
Give me money.
I love how she says, chances are you've seen him. No, because I'm in the UK. I'm not in bum-ass fucking Lexington, Kentucky, bro.
To get some eat.
Iraq left him with limited mobility, but it certainly didn't make him mentally handicapped, and we knew better. You were just talking to me fine a second ago.
When?
Lexington police say he's taken his act on tour of the city to places like the Lansdowne Shops, Hamburg, and the Zandale corridor of Nicholasville Road. We busted this bogus beggar right outside the police department, just minutes after a press conference about it.
Benson Lex, I appreciate you guys busting me. Yeah, I'm really good at it, really good. I clear about $100,000 a year doing this.
Bro, he deserves to get beat up and left for dead. 2 or 1, depends how many they fucking made.
Yeah, about 60 to 100.
The 30-year-old said he's from Austin, Texas, and has done the same thing there. He also says he's got a degree in speech-language pathology. He's combined that training with his wheelchair and found that panhandling pays. Ready to move to another city and start this?
No, I'm not. I'm just beginning.
And just like that,
my boy, I'm just playing. I gotta go, y'all. I gotta make some money.
He was back at it again.
Thanks to this scathing report, the bogus beggar quickly found himself becoming the most notorious disabled person in Kentucky. He found less panhandling success on the street in the time immediately following it. People would call him out. So Gary decided to lay low for a while.
He deserves someone to throw their hands at him, bro. Because, like, this is just not okay. This guy's a jackass. He's proud. He's a proud scammer, bro. He is a heartless bastard, man. I would kick his ass in 2 seconds, man.
And employ his scheme in different areas and venues until things cooled off a bit. Oh, hey.
I'll go away, Wavy. I'm not here to watch you. I'm here to watch him, bro. He's the content, not you, bro. Get over yourself. Fucking factor.
2013, the media caught back up with Gary after receiving a tip that he had skipped town and was shacked up in a hotel down in Glasgow, Kentucky. The man using
I thought he was about to say Glasgow, Scotland, because that would be my best chance at catching him slipping, bro. I would throw those hands like there's no tomorrow.
Money previously earned from acting extremely disabled to finance the spot. ABC 13 reporter Melissa Warren went to investigate, finding Gary at the Happy Valley Inn. The pot-bellied panhandler was laid up looking well-fed and content in a hotel bed when the two spoke. And in this chat, Gary said he was done acting disabled. Though, what do you know, he was lying.
We heard he was at the Happy Valley Inn, and sure enough, he was. So we asked him if the reports of his begging and pretending to be disabled were true.
We sued Honda of America for $2.4 million like years ago, but that money was gone after the market crashed, and then I was homeless. My mom has cancer, so then I had to panhandle to have a place to stay and to be able to eat.
Now, did you stop panhandling?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you say you haven't been doing that since you've been in Glasgow?
No, ma'am.
One hotel manager says that's not the case.
I've lost a lot of customers because they don't want to come here and be, people bumming from them as soon as they walk out the door.
She says he's also threatened to sue her by having a wheelchair accident.
He turns it over right there at that Coke machine.
Why do you think he does that?
Because he's out to try to sue because, that's how he gets by in life, by suing people.
The neighboring grocery store says they've witnessed him begging there.
Been known to be outside in the parking lot begging people for money / wanting to use their phone, and he's even came in and personally asked me for some free food in the past.
And Adwell says he's good at what he does.
Why doesn't that grocery store just hire the dude so he doesn't carry on this criminal lifestyle of scamming other individuals, man? Just hire this dude. He can stack your boxes. If he can definitely walk, so, and he can. I wouldn't trust him with money. He can clean the toilets. Yeah, he can clean my poop out the toilet once I take a fat shit. Once I fucking take a diarrhea dump all over his store, bro. holy, I would make this guy's cleaning job a living hell. Like, literally. Offer him a job so his life gets worse, bro. Please.
I called him out by his name and let him know that I was aware of who he was, and he still didn't break character, so he does it fairly well.
Just hire the dude, just don't trust him with money. That's my advice to you, Mr. Store Owner.
Even if I were to panhandle, I couldn't say it. Because I just couldn't. Honestly. I'm the best in the world, though, the best panhandler in the world.
Yes, it appears after leaving Lexington, Gary simply moved to a different region of the state and employed the same scheme on a new population that was less privy to his tactics. The guy was an absolute menace, and with flimsy laws regarding panhandling in Kentucky at the time, there was little to dissuade Gary from perpetrating his theatrics.
Just like the guy on YouTube Short says, gotta respect the hustle.
I'm the best in the world, though, the best panhandler in the world. I clear about $100,000 a year doing this. I gotta go, y'all. I gotta make some money.
Sue Honda of America, $2.4 million.
Now, did you stop panhandling?
Yes, ma'am.
It seemed as if nothing could stop Gary, and the state of Kentucky would forever be forced to suffer at the crippled hands of the bogus beggar.
The thing that pisses me off the most about this dude, he thinks it's cute to scam people. I would find it cute to fucking whack his head off this metal bar right here, bro.
That was until John Bowl enters the picture.
I'm John Bowl. John Bowl, wave.
John Bowl! I've heard of this guy. No, I haven't. That's his family member, John Serial. Haha, I'm funny.
3 News. John Bowl. John Bowl. I'm John Bowl with Wave 3. The bogus beggar became internationally infamous.
We got him on page, John.
Okay.
John Bowl, who is retired these days, was a seasoned reporter who worked for WAVE News in Louisville, Kentucky. John was known for his skills as an on-the-ground investigative journalist, and was no stranger to busting crooks and calling out corruption in the state. Witnessing the bogus beggar's unchecked rampage around Kentucky, John essentially became the Batman to this joker, making it his mission to expose Gary at every turn possible. He was quite successful at this venture, catching Gary multiple times lying about dropping the Panhandling Act. John began personally documenting Gary and his disability grift in 2014. After receiving a tip indicating that Gary was unsurprisingly still begging for money, though this time in John's home turf of Louisville, Kentucky. John Bowl took to the streets and secretly documented Gary's movements, catching him panhandling in front of stores and restaurants, and even standing up and walking rather effortlessly at times, drawing into question how much Gary even needed his wheelchair. But the most damning of his on-the-ground research to this point came in the form of a hidden camera confrontation of Gary by John. Gary was still using the disabled voice to get donos.
When he spotted a guy in a tie, he saw a potential payday. But it was me, wearing a hidden camera.
Please help, but spare my wheelchair today and all my coins. Somebody take it.
You fell out of your wheelchair today?
Yeah, mine need to get bus fare, get back home.
What's wrong with you?
Mine was hit by a truck when 9-year-old, but I know hurt that bad, just a little bit. Left side hit me precinct.
What is your name?
My name's Gary David.
Gary David?
Did this motherfucker just say, I got hit by a truck at 9 years old, but I didn't get hurt that bad? Like, bro, nobody gets hit by a truck and walks out unscathed, motherfucker. That is the most fakest story I've ever heard, and I haven't really heard that many stories in life, but still, that's one of the fakest ones out there, and I've been around some fake-ass fools in my day. I've had fake friends that tell bullshit-ass stories, and this has to be the most ridiculous list. I don't know how to speak English. I should practice speaking Spanish instead.
When 9-year-old, but I know hurt that bad, just a little bit. Left side hit me precinct.
What is your name?
My name's Gary David.
Gary David?
Such a stupid story.
When I pulled out another camera, everything changed.
How did you even get scammed by that fucking story, bruh? You do not walk away from a fucking truck hitting you square on, bro. You die from that shit, motherfucker. Like, holy shit, who gets fooled by this clown?
You're really Gary Thompson. Yeah. My name is John Ball with Wave. Been watching you. You're the bogus beggar guy that makes $100,000 a year, right? And you're able to change your voice? I've seen all the stories on you.
That's a lie.
That's a lie? No. I noticed your speech got a little bit better just now.
Not a lie. I never asked him nothing. I'm going to Churchill Down.
Gary, I know what your deal is now. Let's just be real here, okay?
I'm doing no deal. Leave me off camera. I don't want to be on it.
Is it true that you burned through $2.5 million in a motorcycle crash lawsuit?
Not burn. Don't want to be on camera. I break it.
Don't you feel bad doing this, faking it like this when there are real people out here?
Faking nothing.
This report from John was particularly damning for Gary, as many in the public had believed the beggar had since moved on from using the, disgusting, exaggerated, mentally handicapped character, and they thought he stopped panhandling, only to find that he was still making thousands of dollars doing this bullshit. The report was shared amongst news stations around the state, and unlike before, it was now becoming pretty difficult to find a person on the street who was unaware of who Gary the bogus beggar was. The guy soon found it near impossible to find marks for his scam, and would get called out in public when he tried his act. Gary actually spoke to a man on the street around this time and threw a pity party for himself, whining about how nobody would give him money anymore, and also adding that he couldn't find a job. Yeah, I'm sure. Gary, is the job application in the room with us now?
Every place I've been out there for a job, they don't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah? So they've been calling you worse than a worthless POS?
Tell me they wanted to burn me with gasoline if I didn't leave their town.
So don't say any cuss words, but that's pretty bad.
Actually, that's the opposite to bad. That is actually good. Like, that's what should happen to scammers. Get burnt alive, bro. Because they're heartless. He was smiling about it. He's not smiling anymore. Now that he thinks his life is on the line. Good. Like, I hope he gets the consequences. Because that is just being a douchebag. He was gloating about it. He was smiling. He thought it was cute. But it ain't cute anymore, motherfucker. So I hope they burn you alive, bro. And film it on live leak. So I can have a watch of it and jerk off to it. Yeah, I'm freaky. Where's that baby oil when I need it? Did he? Come over here, bro. Give me some baby oil.
Don't you realize that you really should leave town?
I don't have any money.
Yeah, well, you've made it this far without it.
Well, I'm not going to ask anyone for any money.
Yeah, okay.
Cap. Come on, bro. I'm enjoying this video.
Things only got worse for Gary, as he was slowly being made to deal with the consequences of his public fleecing in a legal capacity. The man often found himself in courtrooms, and even here he utilized his disabled character. This recording shows a judge doubling a fine issued at Gary after she realized that he was faking the special needs voice in her courtroom to gain sympathy.
I also understand, based on the interview that I watched you speak in, that when you wish to speak in a clear, understandable voice, you do so. The voice you used with me this morning was a voice that I feel certain you were trying to garner sympathy from this court by indicating that you maybe had a mental condition that did not permit you to speak clearly.
The bogus beggar's legal situation would only worsen. The man was arrested multiple times throughout 2014 for infractions related to his begging misadventures, and would begin to rack up a laundry list of fines and misdemeanor charges. But being a fraud and faking mental disability is really only scratching the surface of what this piece of shit was up to in 2014. This guy is truly something else.
Tonight, a man accused
He's
of
human garbage, bro.
trying to swindle people around the state is facing more serious charges.
A grand jury indicted Gary Thompson, this time on a rape charge. Victor Puente has more on this latest charge.
Frankfurt police say the victim in this case actually has an intellectual disability, unlike the man charged with rape who's admitted to faking one.
On February 11th, 2014, it was reported that Gary had befriended a mentally disabled woman and allegedly raped her. According to the State Journal publication, the woman allegedly invited him to her apartment. claiming Gary had sexual intercourse with her until she claimed he was hurting her and she had to push him off. When the victim was interviewed, police officers quickly made the distinction that the woman suffered from a mental disability and they believed that she was incapable of giving consent. Gary Thompson was later charged with third-degree rape, and in May of 2015 he pled guilty. But by then the charge had been reduced down to sexual misconduct, so he was back on the streets in no time. Back on two wheels again, Gary eagerly hit the streets, likely chomping at the bit to talk like a dopey Looney Tunes character for cash. But unfortunately for our mentally deficient fraud, his brazen and illegal activity in local Kentucky had attracted the gaze of America's own Eye of Sauron, the FBI.
I clear about $100,000 a year doing this.
The feds became quite interested in Gary. While investigating him, they found...
Bro, I hope if they arrested him in this, his cellmate took his life. He is the worst of the worst human being. That you don't get any worse than this, bro. Scamming people, being shameless, and then sticking your penis where your penis doesn't belong. Damn, bro. I hope somebody does that to you and then slices your throat in prison. In-game, bro. In a GTA 5 prison.
Found that he had not only been panhandling and sexually assaulting locals, but had also been defrauding the government as well. The FBI alleged that from 2009 to 2013, Gary misrepresented the nature of his disability in order to receive supplemental security income, a form of social security money that's divvied out to a specific cohort of those with disabilities. Apparently he was playing his up to fit that description.
Please help, but
I am normal. It just helps to be mentally handicapped.
As a result of this fraud, Gary would be arrested and later pled guilty in March of 2016 to falsely representing his mental condition in order to collect over $106,000 in Medicaid and disability benefits. Because of this, Gary would no longer be sitting fat in a Happy Inn hotel room. Rather, he was sentenced to a prison cell, spending close to 3.5 years behind bars. And with that, the bogus...
Only 3.5 years. After 3 years he gets out, does it again, unless his cellmate R-words him and then slices his fucking throat, which I can only pray to God and pray to the devil that they work together to get this man dead. In-game in GTA 5, Glen County Prison. If that's the prison in GTA 5, I don't know, I don't play it. I'm not a loser like some.
This beggar had finally been stopped. At least that's what you might think.
Give me money and to get some eat.
Immediately after being released from prison, Gary got back to his scheming ways, hitting the ground rolling, the wheels spinning.
So he survived 3 years. Really? And like I predicted, he'd come back out and do it again. Yeah, same rinse and repeat ass life, bro.
On his wheelchair as he got right back to panhandling and using the offensive fake disabled voice.
Whenever I ask you for money, I won't act mental.
Why that camera for?
Whenever I ask you for money, I won't act mental.
Whenever I ask you for money, I won't act mental. Whenever I ask you for money, I won't act mental. Why that camera for?
I'll just not act retarded anymore and get the money and just I'll be normal.
Seeing the scammers return, Gary's arch nemesis, reporter John Bull, would return to the streets, seeking to bust the beggar yet
Superman
again.
is back,
the crook had learned nothing from his time in federal pen. In a stroke of luck, John happened to spot Gary in the act at a Louisville gas station, and he would stake out the position for a time before confronting the beggar, like Chris Hansen pulling up on a pizza-munching pedophile.
Yep, that's Gary Thompson right there. I've been following him around Louisville where he's doing the same thing. Same spots, same stores, same routine. So I went undercover and walked by him, working people for money at these gas pumps.
Well, if his endurance would be perfect, and his persistence would be perfect if he actually was persistently trying to get a fucking job and earn a honest living. This man goes out of his way just to be a bad person. Like a real piece of shit. The face of a real piece of shit that probably looks the same like this when he was in prison, getting fucked by his cellmate.
Would like a big red and $2 for bus fare, please.
$2 for bus fare?
fuck did this guy get fucking fooled by John Bowl? Not once but twice, man. Maybe there's a 3 times coming soon, bro. Like, Jesus Christ, he's getting fooled by the same guy. Like, now I know how his victims get fooled by the same guy too, because people are dumbasses.
50 bucks, that makes $2, right? $1.50.
Even the scammers are dumbass.
$3.
Getting fooled by John
The
Bowl
Mental
over and over
Disability
again.
Act changes
Dickhead.
when he recognizes who he's talking to. Are you Gary? Are you John Bull? Yes. I'm Gary. So I pull out another camera again. You're still faking your condition.
Took him long enough to realise I was John Bowl, bro. Like, literally, John Bowl is one of the most recognisable faces in all of America, and this guy just couldn't recognise him. He's as dumb as his fucking victims, bro.
Your condition, sir. When I first walked up on you, you kind of had your voice change.
Yeah, I have personality, different personalities at times. The doctor tells me.
Oh, now you're faking my disability, bipolar. I'm gonna fucking swing if I ever find you in America or in England. Oh my god, I'm fucking throwing hands. I will go Braun Strowman on your ass.
You have different personalities. He says he has multiple personalities and then starts having physical problems right there.
That's a muscle spasm, sir.
You're what?
That's a muscle spasm.
You just had a muscle spasm?
Yes, sir.
Oh, now bro's got fucking epilepsy. Man, this is like the fucking old man that cried wolf right here, man.
He shows me his physical problems, but I keep going back to his intellectual ability. What do you say to people who say you didn't learn anything in prison, you're still faking your condition?
They're liars. I'm not faking any condition.
But isn't that...
Bro, you literally showed the car over there that you're faking being in a wheelchair by standing up, you imbecile.
What you were convicted of?
And he did it on camera, so he got caught in 4K and in window screen K.
Of faking your condition with getting government money?
That's not pled guilty, yes.
Yeah.
I'm not faking any condition. My left side is paralyzed.
You saw the videotape like over in Lexington where you're laughing about it and you're saying, yeah, I make $100,000 a year, I can change my voice, which we've seen you do.
But I am disabled, so I'm mentally and physically.
So how long have you been in Louisville?
About a month now.
About a month? What are you going to do next?
Try to get a job somewhere and do the right thing.
Cap. Trying to get a job. Fuck off out of here, bro. I was hoping he'd say, grab a rope, grab a stool, and have a rope and stool party. But no, unfortunately, this guy's gonna still breathe the same oxygen that I'm gonna breathe. I want to steal his oxygen. Swear to God, swear down.
My life up. True. I'm homeless. I'm not a bogus nigga. I don't have anything. I wasn't bogus before. So I have to say to you every day.
Okay.
Strongbow, you're... Bro, I can't drink Strongbow anymore. I'm doing dry 2025, bro. It is haram for me to drink anymore, bro. Ever since the 1st of January 2025, I stopped drinking. I turned Arabic, but you're tempting me, Strongbow. I love your Strongbow dark fruit. Man. YouTube is unsafe for people like me.
But this battle of words between John and Gary was simply a warm-up, and their feud would continue, with John relentlessly documenting the antics of the beggar. Despite saying he was going to get a job and clean his life up...
What are you going to do next?
Try to get a job somewhere and do the right thing. Straighten my life up.
Gary continued fucking up. An update from John sometime later.
But Gary Thompson...
Not fucking up. He chooses to do this type of shit. It's more like choosing to be a scumbag. When the definition of fucking up is that you're making a mistake. He ain't making no mistakes. He knows that he's willingly doing this shit. That's not a mistake in his mind. That's a way of life in his mind. That is why this guy needs to get shot by one of these police officers in the background. Not you, John Bowl. I mean Mr. Gary in his wheelchair thinking that he's hot shit. He won't be hot shit when I find him, because I will flip him like a burger, stamp on his head, and do what that copper did to fucking George Floyd to Gary, mate.
Didn't straighten his life up. For all the people who've asked me whatever happened to the bogus beggar, I discovered he wound up jailed here at Metro Corrections.
Hallelujah, there's a happy ending in all parts of life. Hopefully he never got out, and then I can go to one of those massage parlors and get myself a happy ending. Because I'm stressed, I'm tense after watching this video. I need a massage and a happy ending at the same time. By none other than my masseuse, John Bowl. Beautiful man.
Here, after a stabbing melee at a 3rd Street apartment. The police report charging him with 2 counts of assault notes...
Bro's life just keeps on getting darker and darker. First a scammer, then a R-wordist, and now a murderer, potentially.
In an argument over some cigarettes that reminded him of an 8-ball of cocaine and $65 he lost earlier, Thompson struck the victim with his fist, stood up from his wheelchair and attempted to stab victim 1. Victim number 2 was also stabbed in the torso. Then Thompson stabbed himself, saying he wanted to die. In July, he
you're not the only one that wants you to die. Believe me, I want you to die too.
Guilty, got probation, got back out on the streets of Louisville, and I immediately started getting complaints ranging from the same old act to an attempted jewelry theft at a local mall.
Thanks to John's reporting, it was clear to see that this guy likely wasn't capable of reform. He would continue his fraudulent panhandling, criminal misconduct, and illicit shenanigans with seemingly no end in sight. But thankfully, with him being exposed and made infamous, these acts were becoming harder and harder for him to perpetrate. The party was coming to an end. The final boss battle between John and the bogus beggar occurred a couple of years ago, with a downtrodden Gary being confronted by John one last time. And what typically plays out in a war of words this time becomes physical.
Yes. Hey, Gary. When I come back with a cameraman, Thompson is perturbed. Do you know why people would be calling me to complain about you?
I think I have an idea.
You have an idea?
Yeah.
What's that?
I'm homeless and I'm hungry.
You're homeless and hungry?
Can I ask for food? Yeah. Can I ask for money for food? Yes. We got him on face, John.
Okay.
Bro is not honest. You're just a piece of shit. That's why he gets endless complaints about you.
So, part of the complaints are that you're doing this mentally ill thing again.
Mentally ill? I'm sure I'm going to do to you, John.
What's that?
I'm sure I'm going to do to you,
John had gotten the better of Gary. His panhandling schemes and unhinged nature now fully exposed to the public. It's with this that the journalist considered his work with the beggar complete. It's important to remember that it's mostly because of John's relentless pursuance of this criminal that the bogus beggar's activities came to light at all. The citizens of the state of Kentucky really are eternally in this reporter's debt for relieving them of Gary's nuisance panhandling persona. John Bowl has recently retired from media, leaving behind a legacy of exposing dozens upon dozens of frauds and making Kentucky a better place for everyone that lives there.
Just a few more minutes now until I end my news career after more than 40 years in broadcast journalism.
We're so excited to have him around us.
Yeah, so you can see I have a lot to live for, right?
Yeah.
And I have my dad and my sister, and we're going to have so much fun. Didn't we have fun ice fishing?
And look at how many lives you have impacted, lives and careers. You have been a part of so many lives and touched so many people.
Thank you. Thanks to everybody, man.
Bro, he touched so many people. There's only one guy that he should be touching, me. I'm jealous right now. You dirty bastard, John Bowl.
I never expected anything like this.
John's scorned nemesis, as you might expect, cannot claim such a happy ending to his story. As recently as October 4th of 2024, Gary Thompson was arrested and charged with 1 count of disorderly conduct and 2 counts of making terroristic threats after being involved in what has been described as a knife fight.
40-year-old Gary Thompson was arrested by Paintsville police Saturday, charged with trespassing, solicitation, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest. Police say Thompson fakes mental and physical disabilities.
When police arrived on scene, they found Gary screaming profanities. When officers attempted to detain him, Gary allegedly threatened to kill these officers when he got out of jail. While I'm unable to ascertain if Gary is locked up or what exactly he's doing right now, I'd like to point you to this mosaic. A collection of mugshot images taken of Gary over the years as a result of his criminal exploits. There's a lot going on here. Time after time after time, this man has been arrested, lightly punished, and warned to cut the crap. Gary never changes. He will continue to exploit, defraud, and lie his way back to jail, likely even to prison again. And while Gary has fallen further into obscurity in recent years and his act is pretty much over, no Kentuckian will ever forget the notorious tale of the bogus beggar.
Put him in prison with Diddy, please. Like, please, he needs the Diddy treatment.
Yeah, I'm really good at it, really good. I'm the best in the world, though, the best panhandler in the world. I am normal. It just helps to be mentally handicapped. Whenever I ask you for money, I won't act mental. Why isn't that camera for?
Rape charge.
Artists not act retarded anymore. But, man, don't want to be on camera. I break it. I gotta go, y'all. I gotta make some money.
And well, you made it to the end. Commenters, if you have any individuals...
I'm not a commenter, so that doesn't rely on me. Okay, that part's not about me. Internet?
Just when you thought
No, I don't care about this one. Oh, that's his last video, okay. The stunt that forced a legend to quit, is that the one that I'm after? Desperate couple turns abuse into entertainment. Lovely. Yeah, I think this is the one that I'm after. Last video.
At Sky Vegas, get 50 seriously free spins when you join.
No.
And 200 more when you deposit.
To constantly...
Shut up, bitch. I meant the woman in the advert, not you. By the way, Patrick, I would never tell you to shut up.
Seek the feeling of being at the edge of death is not bravery, it's insanity. But you cannot simply call Travis Pastrana a reckless adrenaline junkie with no regard for his mortality. In fact, he is arguably the most self-aware, calculated thrill seeker in history, which is likely the only reason why he is still alive.
The moment after preparation and before the conclusion is the most intense, the best, and the scariest moment that you'll ever have. And for me, that's the greatest moment. That's the moment I live for. It's when you're sitting up there and you're nervous. You decide then, am I going to follow through or do I need more practice? And if you decide to follow through, all fear goes out. Anything else that you're thinking of completely goes away. And the only thing that you're concerned about is that moment. And that's kind of cool. It's a good feeling.
He's broken nearly every bone in his body. He's accomplished tricks nobody imagined were possible, jumped out of planes without parachutes, and walked away from crashes that should have ended his life and tragically have ended others. But for some reason, he kept going. Not because he didn't understand the risk, not because he has this void inside his soul that cannot be filled, but because he was on a much bigger mission. Travis wasn't just trying to land cool tricks, he was trying to push an entire culture forward, to show the world that action sports weren't just chaos for entertainment, but a real, legitimate art form. And he put his body on the line time and time again. And after he built a legendary career, there was one more stunt that was on his bucket list, the triple backflip. A stunt so dangerous, only Travis could do it, but he couldn't. And how he dealt with this failure changed his legacy forever. Travis Pastrana was never afraid to crash. Even as a young boy, he treated crashing like a part of the process. mistakes. It was something to learn from, not avoid. Part of motocross is being able to take a hard fall when knocked out of you, thinking you're broken. My dad always said, get up. If you're broken, you'll fall back down. By the time he was in elementary school, he was already riding motorcycles, not just casually, but competitively. By the time Travis was a teenager, he started making a name for himself in amateur motocross, not only because he was good, but because he was fearless. The kid would fly through the course, crash so violently it looked like the end for him, then shake it off and go even harder. There was kind of a reckless intelligence to the way he rode, and people respected it.
I don't know military guys, I'm sure there's guys that are like next level, but like, I just, as far as action sports goes, I think he's the gnarliest guy I've ever seen or met as far as pushing the limits, risking his life over and over and over.
Yeah, fuck doing that, bro. Like, that's a hobby? Man, I need to step up my hobbies. No, I don't. Like, no, I would never put my life on the line for a hobby, man. I'm good, just sat on my ass fucking playing video games, I'm good. Or watching videos. Like, I'm quite content with the life that I have. I don't need to thrill seek. Like, Jesus Christ. Thrill seeking can sometimes make you end up dead. Especially that person that died in a parachute accident, I think, recently. Skydiving accident. Yeah. Fuck thrill seeking. I'll leave it to the professionals. I'll just sit here and watch them and not comment, because I can't make fun of what they're doing. Like, Jesus Christ, that takes some big cojones, and I've only got baby cojones. I'm a little pussy, bro.
And yeah, he's got a lot of metal in his body, dude.
And even though Travis was a promising racer, he would ultimately become more known for freestyle motocross. At just 15 years old, he was already chasing bigger jumps and longer airtime, but that came with plenty of injuries. Travis had broken 18 bones in 4 years, and that didn't even come close to scaring him away from a dirt bike.
Yeah, I'm literally squeamish, so I can't do anything like this, bro. Accidents, I'm literally accident prone. Somehow I've injured myself, not even by thrill seeking, but by, like, yeah, just normal shit. You know, playing in goal, hitting my head off a post, yeah, that type of normal shit. Yeah, that's why I don't thrill seek, because I've picked up way too many injuries. If I thrill suck, I would end up dead, just as dead as that woman that died on a skydiving accident. Yeah, I'm good. I'll watch you do it, little bro, but I'm not never doing it. Actually, you're big bro. I'm little bro, because I would never do that, bro. Fuck that, man. I'm a simpleton. I do fun shit for my time. Injuring myself for the shits and giggles is not worth my time, and it is not a hobby that I would like to possess. So I'll leave that to the professionals. I'll watch you.
That's cool. I don't need to go to the hospital.
Are you on break?
Yeah.
In 1999, he suffered one of the worst crashes of his life when he separated his spine from his pelvis. It was pure luck that he didn't bleed out right there on the spot. Travis spent 3 months in a wheelchair, but even then, he was popping wheelies around and eager to get back on his bike. Just 6 months after this spine injury, he entered the first ever Moto X freestyle competition at the X Games. The 15-year-old was sending dangerous tricks over huge gaps while smiling and entertaining the crowd. His run earned him his first ever gold medal, which was his breakout moment into mainstream success.
Never been defeated in a freestyle contest. X 2000. Live on my reputation, man. I can't say enough. I'm so excited to be here, and hopefully next time Carrie and I will both be in the comp doing backflips.
And as if
all that injury, is it worth a medal, man? You could literally do rowing for the same medal, for the Olympic medal. You don't need to be putting your life on the line like this for that medal, bro. You're just doing this for, like, his whole life. His whole life status is, if I die, I die. Like, literally, my life status is, don't do any dangerous shit, otherwise you will definitely die. You know, we are not the same. You're built different. I'm not the one that's built different. He's the one that's built different. Jesus Christ. How is this fun for people?
If winning gold wasn't cool enough, he decided to jump out of the course and into the San Francisco Bay.
I'd literally quit after the first injury. I'm like, oh, my arm's out my shoulder, please pop it back in. Now I quit this motorsport. I'm going to go and do a less dangerous sport, jerking off. Yeah. Yeah, you'll never catch me doing this, bro. Never in my life. I will maybe be at one of these motocross events, clapping them, being like, wow, they are talented, but I will never do this myself. Holy shit, I'm too accident prone for this type of living.
ESPN chose not to show the footage, and he was almost stripped of his gold medal. But
these people live life to the fullest, bro. But is it really living life to the fullest? Well, if they're still alive, yeah. If they're dead, then no.
Fans, he was
It's
an
a flip of
absolute
the coin.
badass.
You will either
From
die
there,
or
Travis
live.
won the 2000 AMA 125cc national.
You'll either live to tell the tale or die to never tell the tale. Because holy shit, this is dangerous, man. You'll never catch me doing anything like this in my life. No. I prefer to play Scheduled 1, play that over and over again, play WWE over and over again, play the same matches of Counter-Strike over and over again. But I will never, like, if one day I think that I'm bored, I'm like, what is there to do? Well, I could jump on a motorcycle and fucking Allahu Akbar myself, but I'm good.
Motocross Championship, which was a major achievement in traditional motocross and proved that he wasn't just a freestyle showman, he was a legitimate racer with elite skill. Shortly after his 18th
Somebody has to do
birthday,
this
he decided
living.
to backflip his
Not
dirt
me.
bike into the Grand Canyon, jumping off midair and parachuting to the bottom. He won gold for the third year in a row at X Games in 2001. He became the first rider to land a backflip during competition in 2002. In 2003, he claimed his fourth gold X Games medal and becomes the second rider ever to complete a 360 in competition, and then took a gnarly crash while trying a 50-foot 360. Travis suffered a concussion from this wipeout, but he still competed the next day and won a silver medal. Travis
Bro gets a concussion, dusts himself off, and then just jumps onto another motorcycle to do it again. Yeah, he's him. I thought I was him. No, he's actually him. People that do this is him. There's many hims in this world. And hers. Yeah, but I'm not him enough to do that shit, man. Jesus Christ. No. What's wrong with, like, doing rowing or a safe sport for your medal? Why do you have to put your life on the line just for a medal? It's a piece of metal. That's what you're fighting for, a piece of metal. You don't need that piece of metal, or if you do running, or do cycling. Don't do motocross. Like, Jesus Christ, this is dangerous. I'm not even your parent, and even I'm scared for your future.
His bones were slowly getting replaced with metal. He broke his wrist 7 times, had 14 knee surgeries, 4 tibia fractures, separated his shoulder 3 times, and had over 25 concussions. And every time he was healing from an injury, he would take a few Advil and plot on his next return.
Definitely lucky, and definitely live a very blessed life in that way. But in my opinion, I didn't feel like it was lucky. If I was lucky, I would have made the jump like I had intended to and would have kept going. But when I woke up from that, the first thing I thought was, well, can you get this back together so I can try that jump again before they take it down? And it was just, it's part of the sports. And if it's worth it to you, there's no better life.
If it wasn't obvious by now, injuries were not going to slow down Travis Pastrana. And after
Fair enough, W motivation. If it's worth it for you, there's no better life. Like, that should be on a t-shirt. I'd purchase it.
he won his 5th gold medal in 2005, he felt like he needed to push the limits of the sport once again. And at this point, every discipline of motocross was at its peak in popularity. X Games as a whole was in its peak in terms of TV ratings, cultural relevance, and star power. Matt Hoffman's no-handed 900 brought BMX into the conversation, and him, Dave Mirra, Scotty Kramer, and Ryan Nyquist stamped BMX as a staple of the action sports culture. Ryan Sheckler became the youngest gold medalist in X Games history, as he rivaled with legends like Paul Rodriguez and Chris Cole. On the vert side, you had Bucky Lasik and Bob Burnquist carrying the torch from Tony Hawk's legacy. Danny Way became the poster child for Big Air, and the introduction of the the mega ramp proved skateboarders could reach unimaginable heights. Even on the winter side, you had Shaun White breaking records and inspiring a whole new generation of snowboarders. Corporate brands like Mountain Dew, Red Bull, DC Shoes, and Monster Energy poured millions into X Games athletes and events. Athletes were landing video game deals, commercials, and TV shows. If there was ever a time to do something big in action sports, this was the time. Travis knew this was his moment, and he decided it was time to attempt the first ever double backflip on a dirt bike.
Yeah, human beings will do anything for attention, including putting their life on the fucking line. And yeah, I'm good. I'd rather sit on my ass than sit on a fucking dirt bike and go, Allahu Akbar, and I landed it, ladies and gentlemen. Like, bro, in my head, that's how it would happen in my head, envisioning it. In reality, boof. And then I just pass away and never to be seen again. No, I'm good. You do you, I do me. You know what I mean? But you got some big ass balls. I almost want to see them. I want to feel them up my... Never mind, that is inappropriate. I need to swallow my words. You're probably straight because you look like a straight male. Even though you're kind of bent right now, but that's beside the point. You're straight. You probably got a wife. My bad for being inappropriate.
Rumors had been circulating for years that Travis wanted to try this trick, but it was obviously very dangerous. Additionally, Travis just got into rallying and was already the #1 contender for the 2006 X Games rally against Colin McRae. Moto X's best trick was scheduled first, and Travis's rally team begged him not to send the trick because it was extremely likely that he would get hurt and not be able to race. But this is Travis Pastrana, and nothing will motivate him more than someone telling him not to do a trick. And on the evening of August 4th, 2006, Travis Pastrana threw an absolutely perfect double backflip and stuck the landing flawlessly. The crowd erupted in excitement as they just witnessed history. He made this extremely dangerous stunt look effortless, like he had done it thousands of times. It's so perfect, it almost doesn't even look real. He secured gold with a 98.60, which is the highest score in best trick competition to date, and it could be considered the most iconic moment in X Games history at the peak of its popularity. And in true Travis Pastrana fashion, this glory wasn't enough. He went on to win gold in Moto X Freestyle and rally car racing in the next couple of days. And keep in mind, during his exploration for bigger stunts and higher stakes, he won multiple AMA 125cc titles and was a consistent podium threat in motocross and supercross. He was such a showman that he would occasionally send a backflip during a race. So while he was inventing new tricks and attempting jumps no one else would even consider, he was also winning professional races. This early stretch of his career made it clear that Travis Pastrana wasn't another talented rider, he was a generational talent that would certainly change everything for action sports. But this kind of greatness usually comes with a dark side, because no one can really be that gifted, always smiling, always positive, and trying to uplift others around them, right? Well, there is a slight dark side to Travis, but it's not what you would expect. Travis Pastrana has dealt with night terrors for most of his life. Not just bad dreams, but terrifying, vivid episodes where he would scream, flail, or even try to escape his own bedroom. His friends and family have witnessed him wake up in a full-blown panic, convinced he was dying or under attack. He's described watching babies burn in a fire. He's even ran a half-mile into the desert in his underwear, feet bleeding while being completely unconscious of what he was doing.
Trying to fix it a little bit when, because when I have broken bones or something and I still get up and I wake up and I'm jumping and I realize I have a broken ankle and I'm in the air or tumbling down a set of steps, or I've knocked my front tooth out. The only time I've knocked a tooth out was actually having a night terror.
Dogs, right?
Yeah, I was diving away from dogs and I was in the air going, I don't have any dogs, and just tumbling down a set of steps. So yeah, that kind of sucks.
And your mom said she's literally almost had to jump on top of you when you're in a hospital bed to avoid you having to jump up. What happens?
Some I remember, some I don't. Most of the times that I remember now, if I can actually feel like I'm awake, then I can just sit there and be like, okay, I'm schizophrenic or something, and just go right back to sleep. But most of the time that I'm running around now, I have no idea. So
really,
I wake up and I'm just in midair, running full sprint through the desert or down the road or out of my hotel room. I can get out of locked doors. I'm fully functional. But
Doctors believe it's tied to a perfect storm of factors: repeated head trauma, years of physical abuse to his body, chronic sleep disruption, and a psychological toll of living life inches from death. On top of that, his brain has been trained to respond to constant adrenaline spikes. He's lived in fight or flight mode for over 2 decades. When you live your waking life flying through the air at 70 miles per hour about to crash, it's not surprising that your body might stay on high alert even when you're asleep. And yet, Travis doesn't let this slow him down at all. He just shrugs his shoulders and says it is what it is.
But anyway, so yeah, I've just gone to the theory that I have some screws loose, and they've been loose since before I had my first concussion, and I'm alright with that.
From the constant threat of death to the night terrors, it's clear that the only reason Travis was still doing this was because he was on a mission to transform action sports from a fringe sport to a serious mainstream career and make sure it was there to stay. But he couldn't do it alone because he was surrounded by some of the most raddest people in the industry, and he wanted to give them a platform. And with that came the birth of Nitro Circus. What started as a series of homemade DVDs quickly evolved into the MTV Classics series. Travis and his friends filmed stunts, crashes, and behind-the-scenes good times. Unlike most reality TV at the time, Nitro Circus was as real as it gets. It was basically Jackass on adrenaline. Some of the most creative stunts imaginable done by world-class athletes. Travis landed a backflip on a kid's tricycle over a mega ramp. Eric Rohner skied down a moving escalator. Travis and Jolene Van Vogt tandem jumped a motorcycle into the Grand Canyon and pulled a parachute to land safely at the bottom. Travis also backflipped from the top of one building to another. If he landed 6 feet shorter, he would have been RIP. Cam McQueen successfully executed the first monster truck backflip in competition with the Nitro Circus themed truck. The show only ran for 2 seasons on MTV, but it didn't stop there, because Nitro Circus wasn't just a media empire, it was Travis Pastrana's actual lifestyle. And now that most of his life was dedicated to pushing stunts to the highest degree, there was one trick he had his sights set on, another legacy-defining trick, the type of trick that could maybe even allow him to retire, the triple backflip. But sadly, this trick would not go the way Travis planned it. The quest for the triple backflip began immediately after he landed the double, but this was a whole different ballgame. At 6'2" and naturally lanky, trying to spin a 250-pound bike around 3 full times in the air seriously tested what his body could realistically do. Everything about it made his friends and family nervous.
The consequences with any sport is high. And when you're doing a single flip, 20 feet off the ground, that is high. There have been people that have died doing flips. We've lost some good friends along the way. It's the risk that comes with it. With double flips, there's only 4 of us that have ever done it, but 2 of them have barely woken up from a coma.
Travis wasn't even attempting the trick for a medal or competition. He was chasing it because no one else had done it, and to him, that was enough reason to risk it all.
The triple elevates this by a multiple of 4 or 5. It's not going to the next level. It's meaning that you have to do a double backflip on the way up and another flip as you're falling away. So exponentially, it increases in difficulty, in height, in risk, in everything else.
The craziest part about the triple was that he couldn't really practice it without risk of injury. So his practice sessions were him sending a triple backflip into a canyon with a parachute. And it was at this point that even he was unsure if he could pull it off. Even with all his experience, Travis immediately realized how much harder the triple was than the double. It wasn't just about spinning faster. The entire setup ramp, height, takeoff angle, body position had to be perfect. And even then, there was no guarantee you'd make it back on 2 wheels. But his longtime sponsor Red Bull believed in him. They rented an entire blimp hangar and built a massive custom ramp specifically designed for this legendary moment, but Travis could not.
Of course Red Bull believes in him. They're like, just drink our drink, it will give you wings, you'll be fine, bruh. Like, of course, man. Anything to make you money, isn't it, Red Bull?
Do it. On his absolute best attempt, he completed 2 rotations and landed on his back tire, but couldn't fully flip another time. But as we know by now, Travis does not accept failure, so he got back to work. This was one of the few times that the Nitro Circus team pulled in experts to calculate exactly how big the ramp needed to be and how fast the rider needed to be traveling. They ultimately designed and built the jump in Travis's backyard, which is also known as Pastrana Land. Travis invited 2 of his FMX buddies to try this thing out, Josh Sheehan and Tom Pages. However, nobody wanted to test it out because, as you can see, It looked horrifying. The ramp was 37 feet tall, and the landing was a massive airbag that could easily be missed on the left or right, sending the rider into the trees or plummeting to the hard ground. And make no mistake, that airbag is not a soft landing. Travis suffered 6 concussions just from landing on the bag. After multiple days of practice, Josh was able to successfully get 3 rotations, but on one occasion he landed all the way on the side of the airbag, quite literally being inches from a disastrous outcome. And despite Travis giving this his all, he physically could not get 3 rotations. He always had to jump off after 2. And at this point, Travis had already racked up countless injuries throughout his career and was basically made of 30% metal. Travis also knew his life wasn't the only one in jeopardy if he made a deadly mistake. He had a wife and 2 daughters to take care of, and he couldn't bear to think about how his children would grow up without a father just because he felt the need to keep pushing things further. He didn't think the trick was impossible, but he knew he was not going to be the one to accomplish it. And for most people with as much passion and determination as Travis Pastrana, they would be defeated and heartbroken, and it would
This summer at Betway Casino, spin the wheel for your chance to win a Range Rover.
eat away at them until they make a careless and reckless mistake and try the trick anyway. They would fall victim to their own selfish desires. But not Travis. Instead of letting his ego take control, he decided to do the most selfless act and put all of his resources into helping Josh Sheehan pull off the trick. Travis passing the torch over to Josh was the first time he accepted defeat. The first time he truly said, "I can't." But this is not where the story ends. Travis had worked with Sheehan for years and knew exactly what he was capable of. He was younger, stronger, and had a lower center of gravity. And more importantly, Sheehan had the one thing that Travis no longer had, a healthy body. Travis was there during the entire process, offering feedback from his own attempts and guiding Sheehan through the whole thing. He truly wanted Sheehan to do the thing that he struggled to achieve.
Throughout my career, I've always been more nervous, I guess, when someone else is trying something, because it's outside of your control. And when you're in the moment, I feel like you can harness that. But I'm not as nervous for Josh as I would be for most people, because Josh is not just some wingnut, action sports guy that comes in on a wing and a prayer. Josh is someone that works hard. And when he commits to doing something, he knows that he has put the time, he's put the effort, he's put the research into making it happen.
And mind you, this was not a few months or even a year-long process. This was multiple years in the making. And during that time, the interest in action sports, at least from a corporate level, was slightly declining. X Games viewership year over year was dropping, and it definitely felt like it was past its prime. However, Travis and his crew launched the Nitro Circus live touring show, which combined FMX tricks, BMX, skateboarding, scootering, base jumping, wheelchair flipping, literally any other action sport you can think of. Travis was platforming them in stadiums around the world. Even during the mainstream decline of these sports, Travis refused to give up on this industry. And even as audience sizes shrunk, the riders gave everything they could to the crowd. Unfortunately, the triple backflip was too dangerous and needed too many specific resources to accomplish at the time. So in 2015, over 3 years after Travis's initial attempt, they went back to Pastrana Land to get Josh to do the trick. They set up an extremely steep airbag landing so Josh could practice getting 3 rotations and actually landing back on 2 wheels. And after multiple attempts, he was landing them consistently. But we all know it doesn't 100% count unless he lands it on a real dirt ramp. Josh's close friends and family took a 30-hour flight from Australia to the USA to watch history. They removed the safety bag, covered the scaffolding landing with wood and dirt, and on April 28, 2015, it was time to put it all out there and prove such a terrifying trick was actually possible. His friends and members of the crew stood in support of what he was trying to accomplish, but they were struggling with the reality that they might witness another tragedy. He cannot make a mistake. He cannot jump off the bike. He had to land it first try. While Josh was rightfully nervous, he was locked in. This was years in the making, so he had the muscle memory down. He spent hours warming up and visualizing a safe landing and prepared to attempt what Travis could not physically accomplish. If he pulled this off, he would be able to share a legacy with one of the greatest motocross riders of all time, and even the likes of Evel Knievel. Josh Sheehan landed the triple backflip nearly perfect, riding away and fully embracing Travis Pastrana, thanking him for making this dream a reality. Even though Travis never got to land the triple himself, it felt like the right conclusion to the years he spent pushing FMX to the absolute limits. It proved that the next generation could pick up where he left off and carry the sport forward in a way that he had always hoped for. And this was by far not the end of Travis Pastrana pushing the limits. Shortly after this, he started projecting the double backflip 360, but it was all too clear that he was past his physical prime. His body was just too beat up and broken to achieve these death-defying stunts he once handled with ease. Granted, all the other sports Travis transitioned to still involved insanely high speeds and dangerous ramifications, but most of them came with way better safety precautions. Rally racing became one of his new main outlets for adrenaline. Travis had been dabbling in rally since the early 2000s, but once he stepped away from motocross full-time, rally quickly became his main sport. He went on to win multiple championships in Rally America, and behind any wheel, Travis brought that same style and talent for racing that made him great on a bike. Then again, Travis was constantly suffering the loss of friends. Ken Block, Ron Meredith, J.O. Archer are just three of many of Travis's friends who died participating in extreme sports. Additionally, Travis's daughters were older now, and they understood he was constantly risking his life, even inside of a car.
When my daughter, my oldest Addie, was crying and she said, "Dad, just don't go. Could you just not leave?" And I went, and that was 100 Acre Wood. And I came up over a crest and I was getting my butt absolutely kicked by Brandon Semenuk, and I was trying to put in a good stage and do the best that I could, and we missed a tree at 130 by, no room. I got done the stage and I thought, it's not worth it.
These days, Travis is still fully enthralled in the world of action sports, but his personal participation has slowed down a bit. He's only 40 years old, but his body has taken some serious damage, and he spends his days raising his daughters and trying to not constantly wake up in pain. His legacy is stamped as the most badass dude to ever ride a dirt bike and maybe even drive a car. But his legacy from here on out is not defined by what trick he will land, but about the lives he can change by giving back to newcomers in the sport that he helped build from the ground up. So no, he didn't land the triple backflip, but he didn't need to, because Travis Pastrana already did the impossible 10 times over, and he lived to tell the story.